Stop for a second. Have you ever wondered why some men sleep with her the same night they meet her while others can't even get a second glance after months of trying? It's not about looks, it's not about money, and it's definitely not about luck. It's about psychological seduction, a skill only few men understand, but the ones who do never struggle to attract women again. You see, the real game is played in the mind. Before a woman gives you her body, she has to give you her curiosity, and that's exactly what playboys do. They don't lead with desperation, they don't overexpose their interest, and they don't beg for attention. Instead, they plant a seed, a small, subtle signal that triggers something inside her, a question, a fascination, a silent "who is he?" that grows rapidly without her even realizing it. Most men fail because they try to convince a woman to like them. They talk too much, give too much, show all their cards at once. But playboys, they intrigue her. They don't offer answers, they create mystery. And when there's mystery, there's mental engagement. A woman's attraction is emotional, and emotions are sparked through curiosity, not clarity. A man who wins fast is not trying to impress her, he's studying her. While other guys are too busy proving themselves, the playboy is listening, watching, picking up on her body language, the shifts in her voice, the little cracks in her confidence. And when he speaks, he reflects those things back to her, not in obvious ways, but in subtle hints that make her feel understood. That's what breaks down her guard. Not compliments, not pickup lines, but the unspoken message that says, "I see you," in a way no one else does. The moment a woman feels mentally stimulated, her defenses lower, her rules begin to blur. She starts justifying her own desire. She'll tell herself things like, "I never do this, but with him, it just feels right." Why? Because he didn't force his way in. He was invited. Her mind created the gateway to her body. He simply had the key. Confidence isn't just about how you walk or talk. It's about your energy. Women sense it. They're wired to pick up on emotional frequencies. If your energy says, "I need her to like me," she'll feel it and pull back. But if your energy says, "I'm already complete, you're just along for the ride," she steps into your world willingly. That's the kind of man she sleeps with, without guilt, without games, without delay. So understand this, the first place you touch her should never be her body, it should be her mind. If you can win there, the rest doesn't take effort. It becomes natural, electric, inevitable. Let me ask you something that might make you uncomfortable. When you walk into a room full of women, do you feel like you need to prove yourself? Do you instantly wonder if they'll find you attractive, charming, worthy? Because if you do, you've already lost the game. The moment you place her on a pedestal and put yourself below it, you've killed the very energy that draws her in. See, playboys don't chase validation, they embody it. They don't ask, "Will she like me?" They assume she will, and that assumption changes everything. Women can smell neediness before you even speak. That subtle desperation, that invisible hunger for attention, it pushes her away before you even get a chance to impress her. But when a man walks in, like he's the main character in his world, not seeking approval, but radiating certainty, she feels it. You have to understand, women are drawn to status, not just financial or social, but emotional status. A man with emotional status is calm in chaos. He doesn't react to drama, doesn't flinch when he's ignored, doesn't get excited like a puppy when he gets a little attention. He's grounded, he's unshaken, and that, to a woman, is intoxicating because it signals power, and not power over her, power over himself. Most guys give their power away in the first 5 minutes. They laugh too hard, agree too fast, try too hard. They want to be liked, but playboys know that being liked is a side effect of being desired. And desire doesn't come from being overly nice or available. It comes from being a man she has to reach for. A man who doesn't need her to choose him, but knows he can choose her, or walk away without a second thought. That subtle shift flips the entire dynamic. Now she's wondering, what does he see in me? Why isn't he trying harder? And suddenly you become the one she's trying to impress. That's the power of being the validation, not the one chasing it. When you operate from that space, you communicate something deeper than words. Your body language, your tone, your energy, it all says, "I am enough. I don't need to prove myself to you." You'll either match my energy or get left behind. And when a woman senses that, her curiosity is lit. She's pulled in, not because you're trying, but because you've stopped trying. That's when the desire begins. The truth is, the men who get women quickly aren't always the tallest, richest, or best looking, but they have something far rarer: unapologetic self-worth. They don't ask for permission to be attractive. They show up as if they already are. And that's why she sleeps with them, because their presence demands it, not with pressure, but with certainty. Let me tell you a secret that most men will never hear. Sleeping with a woman on the first night has nothing to do with your looks or your status. It has everything to do with how you make her feel in the first 10 minutes. If you don't know how to connect beyond surface level talk, you'll never get past her walls. But if you know how to create deep emotional chemistry fast, she'll open up in ways even she didn't expect. You see, emotional chemistry isn't about saying the right things. It's about making her feel something real, something different, something that no other man in the room is giving her. Most guys talk at women. They list accomplishments, throw compliments, and try to look impressive. But a man who gets her quickly listens differently, speaks differently, moves differently. He doesn't just respond to her words, he responds to her energy. When a woman feels seen, not just for her looks, but for her emotions, her thoughts, her hidden layers, everything changes. Suddenly she's not in a conversation, she's in an experience. She forgets the rules she normally plays by because something deeper is unfolding. She starts telling you things she usually keeps hidden. She leans in a little more. Her guard begins to slip, not because you're pushing, but because your presence is pulling. That's the real game. Playboys know how to create that emotional frequency that disarms a woman's defense system. They slow down the moment. They don't rush into sexual energy. They build a foundation of safety, trust, and intrigue. They ask questions that go beyond what do you do or where are you from. They ask things that spark emotion, not facts. They notice the hesitation in her laugh, the way her eyes shift when she talks about herself, and then they lean in with something that makes her say, "Damn, he gets it." Because here's the truth, women aren't waiting to be impressed, they're waiting to be felt. And when you unlock that emotional access, her body naturally follows. Not because you manipulated her, but because you connected with her soul before anything else. She doesn't sleep with you because you convinced her, she sleeps with you because you connected with her. This is why men who master emotional chemistry never beg for intimacy. They don't chase, they don't compete, they simply tune into a frequency that most men can't reach. And when a woman experiences that kind of emotional electricity, even just once, she never forgets it. That's when logic shuts off. That's when she stops thinking and starts feeling. And when she's feeling, it's already too late. She's yours. Let me break a myth that's been fed to men for years. Touch doesn't seduce a woman, tension does. If you think getting physical is the secret to unlocking her desire, you're missing the entire point. The truth is, what turns her on most isn't what you do to her body, it's what you make her imagine. And that starts long before you ever lay a finger on her. Playboys understand this on a level most men never will. They don't rush the moment, they don't invade her space, they don't smother her with forced closeness. Instead, they create an atmosphere so thick with energy that she wants to be touched. She craves it, but she has to wait for it. And that waiting, that space in between, that's where the fire is born. It starts with eye contact, not just the casual glance, but the kind that holds a little too long, the kind that makes her pulse speed up because she can't figure out why it's so hard to look away. Then comes the tone of voice, calm, low, unrushed. Every word drips with control, every pause holds power, and it builds. Every second becomes heavier, every silence becomes louder, and all of it without a single touch. When a man knows how to build tension, he becomes unforgettable, because it's not what he's doing, it's what he's not doing. While other guys are trying to make a move, he's already made her feel things she can't explain. He gets close. Just enough. He stands near, just enough. He lets his presence wrap around her, his energy press against her without ever needing to cross a line. She's not just aware of him, she's consumed by him. This level of control doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't try to force a moment. It lets the anticipation do the work. And anticipation is one of the most powerful emotional triggers in the female mind. It activates her imagination. And once a woman starts imagining you touching her, tasting her, owning her, your job is already done. The moment she fantasizes about it, she wants to live it. But most men ruin the game by moving too fast. They go for the kiss too soon. They reach out too early. They touch without invitation. It creates pressure, and pressure kills chemistry. Tension, on the other hand, creates surrender, because it lets her come to you, not out of politeness, but out of deep, undeniable desire. The key is to let her feel the heat, to let her mind play with the idea of what could happen without ever needing to rush it. A man who knows how to hold that tension becomes an addiction. And when that first touch finally happens, it's not just physical, it's electric. Have you ever wondered why some men don't even have to ask for it? She just gives in. No begging, no pushing, no convincing. She wants it. She leans in, she initiates, she craves it. And it's not because he's the most handsome man she's ever seen. It's because he triggered something inside her that made her feel like she was stepping into her own fantasy. That's what real playboys understand. They don't chase women, they awaken what's already inside them. Every woman has a fantasy. Most of the time, she's not even fully aware of it. It lives in her subconscious, shaped by stories, emotions, power, and control. And here's where most men go wrong. They try to impress her with who they are. But the men who win her fast, they become the man she secretly dreams about. They speak in a tone, carry a presence, and use a rhythm that aligns with her unspoken desires. It's not about being someone else. It's about knowing how to read the room and read her. When a man triggers a woman's fantasy, he bypasses logic. She stops thinking and starts feeling. Her body responds, even if her mind tries to resist. That's why sometimes she'll say, "I don't usually do this," but with him, she does. It's not that she lost control. It's that someone finally spoke directly to her desire without words. It's the way he looks at her like he already knows what she tastes like, the way he pauses before speaking, the way he stands just close enough to spark a thought in her mind that she can't shake. No, it's not just about being sexually aggressive or dominant. It's about being psychologically in control. It's the tone, the restraint, the suggestion without saying too much. A woman doesn't want to be told what to feel. She wants to discover it on her own. And the moment a man creates that space for her, she fills it with everything she's been holding back. That's why some guys can say everything right and still get nothing, while another man barely says anything and she's pulling him into her. Because the second she feels like she's living out something she always wanted, the whole situation flips. Now it's not about what he wants, it's about what she's about to finally let herself have. So no, it's not about being smooth. It's about being sharp, aware, present enough to sense her mood, her rhythm, her resistance, and then gently pushing into the places that ignite her imagination. If she's fantasizing about you, if she's building a story in her head about how tonight could go, she's already yours. Let me ask you something most men never consider. What if walking away is the very thing that makes her stay? What if the moment you stop showing you need her is the moment she starts needing you? This is where the game flips. Because while most men are trying to prove they're worth keeping, real playboys are busy proving they're not afraid to leave. And that subtle difference is magnetic. A man who has options doesn't cling, he doesn't chase, he doesn't overstay his welcome or try to squeeze more time than she's offering. He knows that pulling back at the right moment creates something far more powerful than presence. It creates desire. Because desire lives in space, not in closeness. It grows when she starts to wonder where you went, what you're doing, who else has your attention. That curiosity isn't just emotional, it's chemical. It fuels the part of her brain that makes her crave what's missing. Playboys don't just attract women because they're charming. They attract them because they're unpredictable. They don't follow the usual pattern. They don't ask for closure or reassurance. They leave an emotional imprint and then disappear just enough to make her feel the absence. And in that absence, her mind starts working overtime. Did I mess it up? Was he even into me? Why didn't he call again? And suddenly, he's not just a guy she met. He's a mystery she can't shake. Most men don't get this. They think sticking around longer, texting more, staying available will make her choose them. But the more available you are, the more she takes you for granted. Scarcity creates value. And when a woman feels like she could lose your attention, she begins to fight for it. Not because you told her to, but because your energy taught her that you're not easy to keep. Now, this doesn't mean you ghost her or play games. That's weak. I'm talking about mastering detachment, giving her the experience, the connection, the thrill, and then pulling away with calm, controlled energy. Not emotionally checked out, not cold, just centered. Like you could take her or leave her, and either option would be fine. That's what makes a woman obsess. Because here's the twist. Women are more likely to fall for the man who left her wondering than the one who gave her everything. It's the space he left behind that echoes, the absence that becomes presence, the silence that turns into noise inside her head. And when she's replaying moments, scanning messages, checking if you've seen her story, that's when you've already won. So don't be afraid to walk away. Don't be afraid to be the one who ends the conversation first, who ends the night first, who leaves first. That's not weakness, that's power. And it's that power that turns a brief encounter into something unforgettable.